Well,
All right. Hello, everyone. This is Doc Hogg, joined by Our Boi Gr8 Lott and David Speed. We are going to be talking about, about a lot of things today. And I will be showing you what some of them are here in just a minute.
Isn't it about time for that shameless plug, Doc?
Oh, it's coming. It's coming, my friend.
Okay,
It's
all right.
coming.
Just making sure.
All righty. Today we are going to be reviewing Captain Love, Hero of the Cleansing by Drew Eash.
Captain Love.
We are also going to be reviewing Friday by Ed Burbaker. And we are going to be talking about Red Eyes, which is currently funding on Indiegogo. There is a link to its Indiegogo page in the description below. So do, as soon as you can, go over there, take a look at it, and do back it. We'll be discussing that with Mr. Feed. And, of course, there is the plug for my comic book Tilt, which is now 91% of the way there, with just over 2 weeks left. And, yeah, the link to that is in the description below. Go on over there and back that, too.
only 6 backers to 100. Man, congratulations.
I tell you, it's a long time getting there. So,
Oh, yeah.
I can imagine. Well, you were in a stream with Dr. Drew? No? Also the guy from Captain Love?
Yeah, I was just there a few minutes ago. He was able
Okay.
to be on at 6:30, and yeah, I managed to sneak over there before I came here, and but I so really wanted to hang out with you guys instead. So here I am. But first and foremost, we need to discuss the most important issue of the day, which is that Louisiana police warn of aggressive chickens stalking bank customers.
Okay.
What is the world coming to?
A Louisiana police department is warning residents to beware of an aggressive chicken that has been up terrorizing bank customers at a drive-through and walk-up ATM. The Walker Police Department said officers who responded to a report of a chicken attack at a bank on Walker South Road were told by employees that the fowl has been chasing customers and attempting to get into their cars for several days. Now, apparently this chicken is wanted for assault, attempted robbery. Okay. But most importantly, you need to know that the department's Facebook post said that the chicken has also failed to engage in proper social distancing.
Man, what a scoundrel. What a scoundrel.
Well, talking about a slow, there is an expression for that, not like a slow news day or something like that.
Maybe there's that, but there's also just weird news. I've often advocated for weird news. Weird news stories are things that people actually want to read.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of sites. This is from the UPI. They call it Odd News, and they have all sorts of little stuff like this.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's absolutely hysterical. So
Yeah.
I thought I'd share that and say what have your experiences been with foul birds?
Well, I had an uncle who he had a pet goose, and I accidentally hit his goose with my car.
Oh, no. Oh.
Now, in my defense, it was a mean goose, and it was kind of charging the car, and so I was just backing up quick to try to tell it, like, don't, but it didn't get out of the way.
Oh my god.
Well,
No, I didn't run it over. I just gave it a pretty good tap, and it went waddling off in a very angry way.
yeah,
I don't think I did permanent damage to the thing. I'm not sure though.
Well, roosters are actually very territorial, and we used to own some chickens at my parents' place, and we had one rooster that one of a kid who was watching our place while we were away for a vacation, went into the pen to feed the chickens, and the rooster attacked him. He had to go to the hospital to get a couple of stitches. I mean, not only are they territorial, they can do some damage.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, well, I mean, they do, like, also illegal, but they do, animal fights with roosters, no? I mean, they...
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's nasty stuff. I wish people wouldn't do it, so...
Yeah, no, that's absolutely crazy. But what I mean is like the fact that you can do that with those animals. It goes to tell that they are aggressive and they are capable of, doing a lot of damage to
Yeah.
other things. And
Yeah, roosters actually don't like you gotta.
That chicken just won't be engaging in social distancing.
yeah,
I know.
That's the key right now. Those damn chickens, all avian varieties, species need to be engaging in proper social distancing.
Yeah, I agree. Let's cook this thing and eat it.
All righty. Okay, well, let's move on to Red Eye here, episode 1. And I guess your elevator pitch is it's like Conan the Barbarian, but with freaking guns, which is a pretty good elevator pitch, I have to admit. Tell us about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that when I thought of this tagline, I was just like, oh, okay, something catchy. But I didn't realize how much people liked it. Every time I go on a stream, people are like, oh, that's an awesome, tagline. So I'm like, thank you.
Yeah.
So what's the deal with this Red Eyes? Well, yeah, you got the tagline instead. It's like Conan the Barbarian with guns. This is also we're talking about somewhat primitive firearms, like cannons, one shooters. There's not like infinite ammo machine guns, and of course there are monsters, fantasy races, and dreamlike scenario. Now this is a dark fantasy saga in the making, if you like, and it's one of these stories that starts kind of small. It's just like a conflict in one country that's being invaded by the other, and it then grows into a much larger world-ending conflict, but that'll take some time until we get there. So right now, this is the episode 1 of foreseeably 6, 1 out of 6, and this is the first story arc, the first season, if you like, and it has a beginning, middle, and end. No, it's a compact story. It's not like I don't know, something that's going to be.
How many pages is it?
Right now, episode 1 is 37 story pages, and the book is 46 pages.
Gotcha.
With extras, fan art, and what have you.
Okay, and it looks like you've got a variant cover here as well. I'm scrolling down to see if you've got it here. Don't see the variant cover down here. Okay, well, but you do have a variant cover. Is that correct?
That's going to, so the red one that you see on the side, that's going to be the cover for issue number 2.
All righty, good. Okay.
That would be the which I'm how do you say giving like an exactly. no. Also
this is I like this here. Tell us what's going on here.
This is a spread page inside the issue number 1, and that was done by the colorist. So the colorist did everything from scratch. She did the pencils, inks, and the colors.
Okay.
I mean, what is going on here? Why is there one guy next to what looks like to be this very threatening creature? I mean, what's going on in this panel exactly?
All right. So the thing is that the story is about a group of insurgents. And they're on a desperate mission, I call it, to save their land, and they're being hunted by the people who conquered their land. So the guy with the gun and the giant skull-faced snake monster, those are the hunters, and the 2 poor bastards in the front, those are the insurgents that are being hunted. So the guys on the front are the heroes, and the guys on the back are the bad guys that are relentlessly hunting them. And that giant thing is basically a shapeshifter who normally looks like a human, but then when it's time to fight, she transforms into this giant skull-faced snake thing.
I like it. I like it a lot.
That's like
I'm looking at some of this other art. It looks like you killed a giant chicken.
Go ahead, Jeremy.
I said I'm looking at some of this other art as I scroll down the page. It looks like a giant chicken bites the dust.
Yeah, the poor guy probably is not going to make it.
Yeah, okay, no social distancing for him.
No, not for him. He was a naughty boy in the bank, and he got what was coming to him.
There you go.
The police don't, they don't play around in this world and say, no, bam.
Yeah. What?
So
So
yep,
the pages are all done, right? Is that correct? You have all the artwork done.
all the artwork is done, and all the coloring is being done as we speak.
Okay.
And
Cool.
I was lucky enough to catch Mr. Eric Weather's attention, and he's lettering as we speak as well.
Very good.
That's cool.
It's like this dude is like, yeah, almost everywhere in CG. So
Who's that?
I managed to get him engaged with the project. So he's working on it right now. I was gonna do the lettering myself, but then I was realizing that it would be nice to have some professional help, and then he agreed to say he said yes, and now he's working on it.
Cool.
And the other thing is that in this world, also one of the spiels of this comic that I wanted to have is that, or I have the feeling that almost all fantasy stories they have the same species, the same monsters, they all have orcs and trolls and so forth and so on. So I wanted to have something more original, where it's like, okay, there's no races that you would be familiar with. Everything is something that I invented or is slightly different. So they have no horses. They have these giant birds, these giant cocks, if you like.
Okay.
So people have been saying, yeah, everyone in this world is a cock rider, basically.
There you go.
Unfortunately, this one didn't.
If you managed to stop one of these, you'd be a cock blocker.
So yeah, I guess this guy is trying his luck at being a cock whisperer, but it's not really working.
Okay, yeah. I don't know. Cool. What? So I'm looking at the perks here, and one of them is you have the comic itself and an ash can. What's in the ash can?
So the ash can is going to be like just issue number 2.
How many pages is issue 2?
The total is going to be 4 pages, maybe more.
Okay.
And the ash can is going to be 15 pages, like a preview of issue 2, basically.
Okay. Cool.
So it's issue 1 is 37 pages, issue 2 like a little ash can, and there's also a perk. The featured perk is including a unique book, a bestiary that I saw a guy who goes by the name of Raging Golden Eagle. He also has a fantasy book, and he was talking about having a sexy monster girl bestiary.
Yeah.
And I thought that was awesome. I love the idea, so I thought of doing something similar.
Okay.
And that book is going to be, in the feature perk, you can see that too. If you go up.
The Dungeon Master perk.
Exactly, yeah. No, the thing is that I've been working on this book on this story for ages. And then I wrote a little bestiary on my own just to, I don't know, to have like a guide for all the monsters and how they look and where they inhabit and so forth and so on. So I thought, if I already have all this thing written down, might as well do a bestiary and just add some spice by having it made into a sexy monster girl bestiary.
It works. And let's see. So you got 11 days to go. Is that correct?
I think so. Yes.
And are you on the first month or on the second month?
I'm on the first month.
Okay, so you could extend at that point.
Yeah.
All right, that's cool.
I still have one chance. Yes.
Oh, good. Well, I think you're looking good, and why don't we take a quick look at the YouTube video here?
Sure.
Actually, let's not do that. Instead, let's just explain it out this way.
20 years ago, savage hunters from the north invaded our land. A corrupt force followed in their wake, and everything fell to darkness. Faring Fair was son of Keon Fair, leader of our insurrection, a spoiled, rich brat whose failures far exceeded his ambitions. Father always covered his son's successes until he could no more. Faring was sentenced to death for his sins and cowardice, but his father could not just let him die, so he was drafted into a mission of penance. Yet he was not alone. Commander Griergen, legendary hero of the insurrection would see the mission succeed. Some would call it a suicide mission. For Commander Griergen, it was just another day. Red Eyes is 37 pages of pure, unbridled dark fantasy. With all perks, you'll get the Ashcan of Episode 2. Join the insurrection this April 2020. Only on Indiegogo. #ComicsGame.
Cool. Very nice. All righty.
Gotta
Well, we've got.
Add that hashtag at the end.
Well, you're already 56% of the way to your flexible goal, and you're really, if you get to extend it another 30 days, I think you're in. You look like you're in really good shape.
Yeah, hopefully. Yes.
Why is it? Here, let me ask the most important question.
Yep.
Why is it called Red Eyes?
Oof, that's a good question. Now the thing is, I was writing another story, and I called that one the Redshift Express. And then when I was thinking about this story, it was like something with red eyes. There you go. And then later on, retroactively, I started changing aspects of the story so it would make sense. Okay. So right now it's Red Eyes, partly because of that, and partly because as I change the story, whenever anyone uses magic in this world, their eyes turn red. Mm-hmm. And then there's also a MacGuffin in this world, as you would have them in these dark fantasy sagas. And this MacGuffin is basically a seed that, how would you say it, contains all the hopes to repair this world. And the seed has a little red icon, and so people start calling it, the red eye.
Okay, so it was a catchy title that you sort of worked back into the script and the story. Yeah,
exactly.
Okay, cool.
So when I said red eyes, like the mages, their eyes would not turn red when they do magic, but now they do. No, obviously, it
makes sense.
That's the spiel on that. Yeah.
Cool. All righty. Anything else you want to say?
The first issue is how do you say? Obviously, there's going to be a little bit of world building. It's about establishing the heroes. We're even called these rebels, and the villains who are called hunters. And I didn't want to bore the people to death with a lot of dialogues and bubbles, so it gets straight into the action. Like the book opens, and you are in the middle of the mission these guys are on. Mm-hmm. And so it's only little by little that you'll start realizing, so they're on a mission, and this mission is going to be very difficult. And slowly but surely they realize this is almost like a suicide mission. And I wanted to add like a lot of action, and if they're in the having dialogues or having a more or less calm moment, I wanted it to be tense. Mm-hmm. So even when they're just in the bar, like the situation is tense because everyone around them does not trust them. I mean, they're after all insurgents, meaning they're basically terrorists, is what they would be called in our world. And the common peasants, they don't trust them, and sometimes they report them to the hunters. And so I was trying to make it more action oriented, and how do you say? So there's not like a big crawl of text at the beginning explaining how the world works and how the magic works and blah blah blah. No, it's starting to the action, and little by little, all these things will be cleared.
Yeah, so you're backfilling it.
Yeah, more. Also, I don't know exactly what that word means, but I assume it means that.
No, I mean, little by little go explaining. In writing terms, it means that you start, usually you start later into the story, usually at a point of action, and then you backfill the earlier stuff as you go.
Yes. That's exactly what's happening here. Yeah.
Got it.
Very, very nice.
What else can we say? No, I don't know. Maybe if you have any questions, you can ask me. Otherwise, let me think.
I think actually that's just about it. Where where do you see? One thing I'm curious though. Where do you see yourself taking the series after this?
So I was hoping on how do you say, printing and shipping on November, and then maybe around that time start a next campaign.
Okay.
And I'm not sure yet if I'm going to do Red Eyes 2 or if I'm going to do like a horror theme story at that time. October, November would make sense to have like a horror story there. But it depends. I mean, it depends on the success of this campaign. I'd love to move on to issue number 2 or issue number 3, depending on how we move forward with the art and the colors and so forth and so on.
Yeah, I mean the Ashcan thing could help to build, interest in issue number 2, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's smart. And from what I see of the art, it looks pretty good. So, here's hoping that you can get it more than funded and get people to come back for return trip.
Yeah, no, I love. I'm seeing a lot of people that they were talking about, the next campaign be something different, like explore other stories or other genres. But I think it makes more sense from a promotion point of view that if you are successful with issue 1, that you go right into issue 2. So I'm very strongly thinking about moving right away with issue 2 as soon as this one ships.
Yeah, that's probably smart.
One last thing, tell us about some of the different tiers here, like the Dungeon Master perk. What do you get with that?
All right, so the Dungeon Master perk, there's all 3 books that are being produced right now, and you save a little bit of shipping on that one, so the shipping's a little less expensive as a compensation. It's issue 1, is issued issue 2 Ashcan, which is basically a preview of issue 2, and this naughty thing called the Sexy Monster Girl Bestiary.
It's going to be about that a little bit.
It's going to be 24 pages, and it's basically like a bestiary as you would expect from Dungeons and Dragons or Pathfinder or some of these other companies that do that. The way I envision it is the one page is going to be the explanation of this race or monster, and a little, like a little box where you have statistics about this, how much HP, armor, blah, blah, blah they have. And on the other side, it's going to be a pinup, a sexy pinup of this monster.
Mm-hmm.
And so 24 pages, that means basically 12 monsters in almost like, it sounds a little bit sleazy, but almost like, one of those calendars. So like every month there's like a new monster in a sexy pose or something.
Monster of the month.
Well,
and then the next one.
You've kept your number of tiers down to a pretty limited amount, which is I think generally good. You can go digital only, or the issue with the Ashcan without the bestiary girl. Although I don't know why. I guess some people have done that. Why you would go without the bestiary girl, I don't know. But hey, that's just me.
To each their own. Yeah. Also, I had many more perks, because one of the things I want to do is have like this issue in several languages. Since I speak Spanish and German. I grew up with as bilingual, Spanish and German. So I'm and I also work as a translator. As freelance translator, and so I'm translating the book myself, and I have perks for that. Now, all these perks were really clogging the start page or the home page, so I decided to hide them. And if you go to the updates, the first comment you'll see is the link to all the secret perks of German digital, Spanish digital.
Okay.
Very, very cool. So Comicsgate is getting bilingual or trilingual, actually.
Trilingual with this one.
Is that one of the reasons you're in Switzerland? Because it's a trilingual country, right?
Yeah. Also, it's actually 4 around here. It's
okay.
I'm half Swiss. I'm half Mexican, half Swiss, and sometimes I moved here. Then I met my wife, and then I definitely moved here.
Yeah. No, I was just curious as if that, because it has, different, as far as I understand it, I don't know it that well, but there's different regions that like one region is German speaking and a French speaking and an English speaking,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Also, there's Italian, French, German, and then
Yeah.
there's like a weird Latin language that not a lot of people speak, but it's still like an official language here. It's
Okay.
Rätoromanisch, it's called.
Okay. Don't know that one.
Yeah, no, me neither. It's apparently like a combination of Latin and French and Spanish and Italian and I don't know, it's a special one, and I think it's only like in one state officially has that, and since it's official, they have to count it as an official language of the country, and so yeah, we have officially 4 languages here.
Very
cool.
Yeah, also I had one more tier that was the the typical get yourself drawn in, but that one's already taken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I wanted to keep it at just one to not make things too complicated with my first campaign. This is really my first time putting my persona out there. So I was like, okay, let's take it easy.
Yeah, it's definitely a balancing act of how much do you offer versus how much is too much.
Yeah, how much you can actually fulfill in the end. No, you don't want to promise too much and then like, oh shit, I promised this and now I have no chance in hell to fulfilling that.
Yeah, no, under promise and over deliver.
Yeah, exactly. Good one. I'm trying to do that. So.
Well, it's good. Cool.
Alrighty, sir. Unless there's anything else, Jeremy and I need to get to our reviews. So we thank you very much for joining us.
No, that's fine. That's fine. I mean, if
Red Eyes with us.
Yep. So see you soon.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Oh, absolutely. And again,
all right then. Have a good one.
The link to it is in the description below, and please do back it when you can. Thanks.
Thank you.
Sure. All righty. Let's move on to.
I actually just backed it while we were on air. I don't know if I've done that before, but the main perk has the comic and the ash can, and it's a substantial ash can. It's $20, and the shipping is free. So it was like, why not?
From Switzerland, and it's free. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, hey, I don't make the rules.
Not on that one, anyways. So.
No.
Very cool. All right. Well, I'm strongly considering backing it. So, all righty. Jeremy. What is the name of the comic book that you want to review today?
Friday.
Indeed. It is.
It's Friday, gotta get down on Friday. Everybody's looking forward to the weekend. Friday, getting down on Friday. Everybody's looking forward to the weekend. Fun.
All right, enough of that.
This is like your version of Rickrolling people.
There you go. Every chance that if I have a show on Friday, I do that.
Yeah.
The thing is, I don't think I've actually been on anyone's live stream on a Friday yet during my Tilt campaign. The only one I've done was the one with Lenore, which was on my own stream.
Yeah, and I saw part of it, and so the Friday thing didn't catch me off guard because I'd seen you pull that one before. But I should have thought of that when I recommended this book.
Too late. All righty. Well, tell us just a little bit about this book.
Okay. So Ed Burbaker is he's done a lot of things. He did Captain America and things like that, but he and I believe he writes for Westworld now, if I remember rightly. He's one of the writers. And he but he does a lot of crime stuff. Hey David, thanks for coming on. It was I do think this book looks fun, and I'm looking forward to getting it. But so Friday is a book that he'd been kicking around apparently, and this artist named Marcos Martin came to him and said, I'd like to work on a book with you. Do you have any ideas? Right? And he said, well, I didn't, but I quickly got an idea. Or I mean, he had like a seed of an idea, you know, but he didn't have a fleshed out idea. And so the idea here is that he wanted to take things like the Hardy Boys and Nancy Drew and Encyclopedia Brown, that kind of thing, and let's say, well, what comes next, you know? So he wanted it to be, as he said, post YA fiction. And let him grow up a little bit. And so that's what you're seeing here. This comic is there's like an Encyclopedia Brown type character and a I'm going to call her a Nancy Drew type character, but that may not be. No, it's more like a Harriet the Spy type character. Sorry.
Okay.
And but you know, as young adults rather than as kids.
Yeah.
And sort of grappling with that. And it's also you know, it's a crime comic because that's a big thing that Brubaker does.
Mm-hmm.
And this is released digitally. The first issue is available to download for free. And I don't know when the second issue is coming out. I actually wrote to them and said, when do I get issue 2? And they didn't write back to me, the jerks. But you know, at some point.
Well, in general, I liked it, but my problem with this is that there was so much kind of well, first of all, this is almost like a backstory issue. Almost, I mean, granted, they get into the plot a little bit, but they're definitely bringing in the characters' histories and everything, and you only get a little bit of the actual plot involving the dagger and everything. And that's fine. I mean, the next comic we're going to look at, Captain Love, Hero of the Cleansing, that's very much a backstory. I don't have a problem with that. It's just that the only thing that, and let me say that I think some of the art here was really nice, and we'll get to some pages that I really liked here in a minute. It's just that between her and the sheriff and this kid Lancelot, well, one thing was that coming in here, you know, it's talking about Friday, and then I initially thought this was Friday. You don't, which
yeah.
If you're transitioning to page 2 and you're talking about Friday should be front and center so that you don't get, because I initially got a little confused. It you know, they said it straight in within a page or two, so it's not a big deal. But the other thing is they were trying to intertwine so much. I mean, you got the history between Lancelot and Friday. You've got all the evil stuff that's gone on in the woods.
And it's some ridiculous evil stuff too.
Yeah. And then you've got, they're also trying to bring in, gosh, what else? Well, you know, the whole story with this dagger and this the guy who's got the dagger being, you know, a criminal, and there's just and some of this stuff doesn't get revealed in issue 1, and that's fine. It seemed like there was so much stuff that they were. It almost just seemed a little bit like overload, and some of it's also they couched it in these very mysterious terms, and you're kind of like, okay, boy, you're throwing a lot at me that you're building up multiple kind of mysteries at once, and I felt a little overloaded. I don't know. It's maybe because I'm over caffeinated and was overloaded at work today that I felt overloaded by this comic. So maybe it's just me, but on the other hand, I think, you know, maybe I got a point. I don't know. Do I?
I think that you have to be in the right mood to read this comic. This isn't, and I don't mean this is not an insult, Doc, but this isn't just a cram it before the show kind of a comic. And say again.
I read it this morning.
Okay. Fine.
But no, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
Like I honestly think this is a great comic to read it kind of like at night. It really, if it's just the art really lends itself to being in a cold, dark place when you read this. You know, it's a very moody comic. I don't know if this is entirely accurate, but I think it is. I think this was actually colored with flats. I don't think there was any mixing done. It was just a really skillful use of flats. So much that it looks like it's mixed. The art itself is gorgeous.
For viewers, tell us the difference. No mixing, just flats. Tell us the difference.
Okay. So just a second here. I'm wanting to do. There we go. So what you do is you take the black and white artwork and you hand it off to a person who they take a digitized version of that and they draw like grids. And on that, you can see this on this page here, right? The colors are very separated. So you've got sort of a darker blue and this yellow color and this lighter blue and whatever. But you draw this. What you're doing is you actually draw a grid, and you can actually take away the artwork and see the flats, and it's an approximation of just the color, blocky, colory approximation of what's there. It's actually kind of eerie. But then what usually happens is they mix the colors and shade them and everything else. And it almost looks like that's what's happened here, but I don't think so. When I look at it, I don't see any gradient in any of this. What I see is just a really skillful use of the flatting technique, or sorry, the flats, but just a finely done flatting. It's I'm not a colorist by any means, but I can absolutely respect an amazing coloring job, and I think we got one here.
Okay, all right. These are some of the pages, and I can see what you're saying about just the flatting here. I really, but these are some very nice pages here, and I really like this image here. It really just, it's very different than anything I have seen in really any comic book, let alone in just indie comics. And it's just I think what you're saying there is right, and that's probably one of the reasons this image stands out. I particularly like this here, but it's you can, now that I look at this image here, you don't see any real shading here. The images are very, very the coloring is very distinct from like there's no, these hands don't be casting any shadow, for example.
Sure, or if any shadows are cast, they're done with ink rather than with color gradient.
Yeah, for the most part. Okay. It's like I said, it's not a bad story. It's interesting. I'm just and you are there. I don't remember what the name of the dagger was. I'm sorry. Oh, with ancient stone dagger, and they're after this kid that has the dagger, and at the end he's saying something like, "Blast!" I think I goofed this. The white lady. She'd heard these words before, and now it was really bugging her. Where the F had she heard that?
Yeah.
And so there is a mystery there, and overall I did like the comic. I just felt a little overloaded, toward the beginning.
I can understand that. And the other thing is he's basically trying to invent a new genre here, and so that's going to take some work. There's a mosquito buzzing over here. I'm trying to just kill it with my hand.
All righty. Well, why don't we move on to Captain Love, the hero of the cleansing? I think we should. I think we should go and play the Captain Love YouTube because I really enjoyed that. Hang on here. See if I can find this. Why am I not finding this now?
I don't know.
Yeah.
One of those days. It's a not finding it day.
It's been one of those days.
It's like me this morning trying to find my daughter's one of her, I don't know, shoe slipper things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I took some work. That girl managed to hide that good. So I thought it was behind her little bed thing, and I pulled it all out, and not there. Kept looking. Finally, I found out where she'd sandwiched it. Man, that girl can hide things.
With my kid, I get stuff just lost in his drawers, even in the drawers where things are supposed to be. I mean, my biggest thing is socks. I swear, I always go out with like 8. Every time I get new socks, I have like 6 or 8 new pairs of socks with them. Take them to the laundry one time, I have 6 or 8 socks, but no pairs of them anymore.
Yeah. I mean, do you ever just abandon all hope and just wear mismatched socks?
Well, that's what he did the other day, and he seemed to like it. So I'm kind of like my faith is or my it's one less thing that I'm going to stress out about. So
That's good.
Okay.
The dark finger.
Hi, my name is Drew Eash, and I'm the author of the Captain Love series. Well, I'll tell you all about the second book, Rise the Pirate King. Yeah, that's a thing. And in this book, you're going to get everything that you would expect, and I'm blessed enough to be able to use the same creative team. You know what I mean? If you feel like the universe is caving in, you need love to the rescue. And it seems like nothing will be right again. You need love to the rescue. Captain Love to the rescue. All right now. Now, Captain Love is a space trucker and a former war hero. There is even a legend that he may be immortal. He is accompanied by Spade, who's a living AI. Yes, I said immortal. As in he cannot die, and if it feels like the universe is caving in, you need love to the rescue. And it seems like nothing will be right again. You need love to the rescue. Yeah, love to the rescue. Captain Love to the rescue. All right now. In this book, you'll get space pirates, sexy girls and science monks. There'll be bar fights, space battles, and a lot of awesome junk.
Oh,
There's nudity and violence and swearing within, so this book is mature. That means it's not made for children. And if it feels like the universe is caving in, there'll be love to the rescue. Yeah, and it seems like nothing will be right again. You need love to the rescue. Captain Love to the rescue. Captain Love to the rescue. Captain Love to the rescue. Thank you so much for your time. Please back Captain Love. The book is going to be awesome. Rise of the Pirate King is just the second and an adventure heading forward for many books. Thank you for your time.
Cool. All righty. We're actually going to review the very first one today, the Hero of the Cleansing. But it is good to know that there is an issue 2. When I get done with this, I'll provide a link to it in the description below. All righty. All right. Well, I think the best way to describe this is kind of Han Solo, the softcore porn version of Han Solo.
Yeah, it kind of there's a sex farce of James Bond called Rod Steel,
Mm-hmm.
and I bought it thinking it was something different than it was back in the day because I used to buy a lot of videos from Blockbuster, yeah, this kind of reminded me of Rod Steel. So,
what is describe Rod Steel? Just very well, never mind. I can figure it out. All right. Well, basically, Captain Love is he's basically a former war hero who's now doing shipping, and there's this interesting scene early on where he's hearing some kind of voice from someone, from a female, asking for help, and I don't ever recall that exactly getting resolved.
Oh, it gets resolved.
Pardon?
It gets resolved.
Oh, okay. Well, I must be, man, must not be my day today.
That's the AI.
All right. All right. Okay. Oh, whoops. Sorry. Yeah, there we go. That's better. But yeah, I mean, you get a fair amount of this in the book, and Drew Eash is not afraid to put some porn in his books.
Put a little English on it.
All right. Anyway, let's now, what is the cleansing? It was a nickname for the war between planets and the corporation. There's this, giant intergalactic corporation, and basically they are, interested in eliminating any resistance to the corporation, which is what they tried to do. And Captain Love was part of the resistance. He was a hero in the resistance. And here he is. They're operating on him after he basically did something very heroic in attacking one of the leaders of the corporation, sacrificing himself. But they bring him back to life. And overall I enjoyed it, but it's really, it's just a lot about his love interest, kind of his backstory here. And I admit the plot was at times a little thin, but I like the art a lot, and I like the character a lot. And I admit I kind of like I like the naughty bits.
Okay, all right. I was like, what? What are you gonna say here? Look, we're talking about genre here, and it just depends. If you view this as like a Buck Rogers type story, I don't think it works. If you view it as more of a I don't know. I think the question is so is it soft porn, and is you grade on that curve? Like, is the story good for soft porn? Yeah, sure. Is it good for space opera? No, I don't think so. It's
well, I don't think this is necessarily.
I will say, that it's space opera. It's definitely what's going on here. I will say that the when he did the sexy good time moments, that was really well drawn. Some of the action was not as well drawn, I didn't think. There were just certain things that you're like, if you were paying attention to detail of the action parts, it would have been better. For instance, at one point, Captain Love finds and one of his sexy lady friends find himself bound by the evil corporate bad guy and his minions, and then some people barge in to try to take Captain Love's side in this conflict, and then just somehow the restraints aren't there anymore. They just disappear. Rather than like, hey, he did something to snap them, they just went away.
I thought he was actually being held down by the soldiers, and they were distracted by the guy.
They had straps around them and their mouths, everything. They were tied.
They had straps around his mouth. I don't remember him having straps around the arms, but again, I'm having a real off day, so
okay.
We
could look again, I guess.
1% chance that I'm right on this.
Okay. I just think no. I think that they didn't pay that much attention to the action, or at one point, Love and the bad guy go tumbling down, and Love somehow survives, and the way that was drawn was just, you're like, I don't get what just happened. I mean, I get it because of what they say after the fact, but it just logistically didn't work. And I'd work on that for a second installment. There were bits of it that are clever. Just look at this page, right? The art is really good. It is. It's there's the coloring and the art and the detail and the variety. It's all there. I just think that for depending on what kind of a genre this is, the story may be lacking.
Mm-hmm.
If it's soft porn, okay, maybe it's not lacking. This is more than I'm told you're supposed to get in soft porn.
See, wait. No. He was not tied up. I can't believe I remembered this correctly, but hang on here.
All right, because but like he had the stuff around his mouth and that falls away.
Now, that does fall away, yes, but here it is. I mean, there's a guy holding him. They are holding his arms here. Okay, he is not. That's an arm going down there.
All
Clearly,
right.
he's not.
I think she's tied up though, because like I do believe that there was a picture of her being restrained, and I assume that he was as well.
Okay, well, no, he was not, and you know, all right, I can kind of see, you know, why. I don't know. I just don't think that's, you know, this guy hanging over the side there. I don't know. That's a little off, but otherwise, no. I actually think the scene here is not bad at all.
Okay. I don't know. It's just for me they skipped a couple of steps that you don't want to skip, and then what you're seeing after.
Well, no, I'm curious. No, she's being held by her arms as well. No restraints. Restraints on her mouth, yes. Okay, so what steps do you think were being missed?
Here, keep going.
All right.
The stuff from their mouth just seems to go away, but forget that for a second. When they're falling down into this pit thing.
Oh, yeah, okay, they're not. That is true. They are not wearing the mouth restraints around their necks here. Okay, all right. Yeah. And
so some of the restraints are gone. I overestimated the amount of restraint, but what was there just vanished. Okay. Secondly, they go over the side here, right? Keep going, and they fall down, and I guess the bad guy falls onto the thing and propels him. It's not all that clear.
Oh, I guess I can kind of see that. Although it looks like Love is, yeah. Okay, all right.
But just logistically, they should have just worked that out more. Like, just choreograph it better, and you know, you get to decide how this thing is shaped, right? So shape it in such a way that you know Love can bank over to the side or something. It just doesn't.
Yeah, right. It doesn't look like Love is heading for the side, and this guy is not, but. It might have worked better if you'd actually seen them fall. You know, from this view here, came next, and you saw Love falling here and the other guy falling here, and then you saw the big explosion with the body parts, kind of blowing up. So in other words, you got a much better sense of where Love was likely to land, and the head of the corporation.
Because I mean, when they go down, they're just
okay. Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, you're right on that. So, okay.
So 6 to 1, half a dozen of the other. They weren't as restrained as I thought. But what restraints were there vanished. And when he goes over the side, it just seems kind of not well done to me.
Yeah. Okay. Unless you have anything else, I think we can actually wrap it up right now. I will definitely put a link to Captain Love. Issue 2 in the link in the description below. So anything else, Jeremy?
Keep making comics. We'll keep reviewing them.
All right. Awesome. Thank you, everyone. We will see everyone later.